Hello and welcome to Liza's BLTs. What is a BLT? It's a body love talk where we talk about everything from emotional eating, self-care, confidence, boundaries, self-esteem, love, how we treat our bodies, and so much more. Who am I? I am Liza Lomax. I am a transformational mindset and body coach. So I get the honor and privilege to help guide empathic and highly sensitive folks heal their emotional blocks with their bodies, with minds, with their mind, and with food. And today's topic I'm going to talk about is fear. And this is kind of a subject that hits home for me for this past week. There's had a few miscellaneous things that have come up that have kind of spurred fear. And so I wanted to talk about what that is, how to break free from it, how to start your emotional healing process with it, all of those things. So fear is something all of us have experienced. We at one point in our lives, everyone is scared of something. We all have something to be scared about. In fact, there are so many times when fear keeps us doing what we really want. All the times it's fear of what people think, or other times it's what we think, fear is something that we're not willing to face. We're not willing to step up to the plate and take care of. There's nothing wrong with being scared. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being scared. As humans, being scared is natural. Our bodies, fear is our body's natural response to stimulus. The stimulus can be anything from the mind perceiving a threat of some kind. Your body prepares itself to deal with that fear by activating that fight or flight response. So no matter how much you deny fear, it's all part of survival and it is inevitable. So fear is not just a feeling. It's actually a form of energy, an energy that is accumulated and accumulated, and will eventually require some outlet at some point. So eventually either it comes up or sticks down, or it's pushed down, or something happens. When we bottle things up and we push it down and push it down, eventually it's going to come to the surface, whether we like it or not, whether we choose to or not. This happens and can happen, in numerous different ways. Mostly our bodies, most of the time our bodies are speaking to us, when this happens, by causing some physical elements in our bodies, that what I like to refer to as dis-ease in the body, or which eventually can turn into disease. So I personally, like I said in the beginning, I've been struggling with fear and anxiety lately. Fear, I'll be honest, fear over money, finances, relationships, things that are happening, shifting in my life, and I'm choosing to deal with them. I'm choosing to face them head on so that I can move forward. I get so wound up in, of the causes of friction in areas of my life and causes so much turmoil in my body. And I get headaches, I get stomach aches, I get tension all over my body. Some days I just want to crawl under a rock and hide. Sometimes I just don't even want to get out of bed. And I know a lot of us struggle with that. And, it creates a lot of disease in my body. I get a lot of headaches, when that happens, a lot of tension. I have different outlets that I go to now, that to combat some of those things when it does arise, or when it does happen, or when I'm not dealing with it. And I know that there's not any right way. I know there's not the running away is not from it only means that it will be harder for you to find it'll be harder for you, and it'll eventually find you is what I'm trying to get at. So today I'm going to share with you some 4 steps of how to break free from fear. So 1, facing your fears. If we don't address our fears, they can accumulate over time. Like I said, fear is not just a feeling, it's a form of energy. And no energy can be contained for too long. We know this. And when we don't allow our fear to get released, it starts expressing itself in as struggle and pain, dis-ease. In order to liberate yourself from fears, you may need to put in some effort. You need to put on that big people pants on and do the work. It is not easy, but it's not impossible either. It's essential to liberate yourself from the fears that are holding you back. So, acknowledging your fears. Most people pretend that nothing is happening after a frightful experience or something that happens. They think that trying to forget it or ignoring it, the fact that they even got scared, fear will just that they think that fear is just going to disappear. When in reality, that's not the case. We know this. Whenever you feel scared, you should acknowledge the emotion and face it. Instead of running away, you should tell yourself that it's okay to experience that fear. Communicate your fears. Whenever, you experience fear, learn to communicate with it. Talk about it. Seek to understand what your fear is. What is it trying to tell you? In order to communicate with your fear, first observe where exactly the fearful energy is accumulated in your body. Sometimes we can feel a tightness in our chest and our heart, and as an easy feeling in our stomach. I know that when I get stressed and I get fear, I feel it in my stomach. It's just in the pit of my stomach. Some people feel it, the tension in their arms and their limbs and their legs, wherever. Once you can successfully find out the core of this energy, you can then communicate with it. Ask it some questions. Yes, ask the fear some questions. What is my fear trying to tell me? What does it want? How does it want to support? What support does it need, in order to be released? A dialogue with your fear can reveal some actually very useful and important pieces of the information. You'll be able to understand the origin of the fear and how to make yourself feel safe. Find a way to release the fear. Like a duck actually flutters its wings intensively after a quarrel to release the energy and the fear. And it's not just ducks. There's lots of animals that actually do this. They shake it off. Literally shake the energy off of them. Similarly, you can find different ways to help you release the negative energy. It can be crying, it can be screaming, it can be shouting, or any other vigorous activity, movement, or just shaking it off. Just like Miss Swift, got the idea. Baby, I'm going to shake it off, shake it off. I know probably all heard that song. It's perfect. It's a perfect thing. If you're feeling that fear in that moment, turn on that song and just shake it off. Focus on the part of the body where you feel the fear the most accumulated, and understand what kind of movement your body wants. Your body will tell you. Your body's talking to you all the time. Once you understand, all you need to do is surrender to that moment. Amplify it. Repeat it until it comes to an end. Keep doing it over and over and over again. So 4 tips for healing them, for emotional healing when it comes to fear. Most people today, oh, we all deal with damaged emotions. We all have emotional trauma, or what I like to call is emotional trauma. You know, many have been through one thing or another that have left them emotionally devastated. And a lot of people suffer so much that they're scared if they open up about it, what others might think of them. They may be, thought of differently. Some people are so scared of their emotions that they're they're afraid of being misjudged. Others are scared that they won't be able to live up to the expectations of them, of other people. In order to start healing yourself emotionally and liberate yourself from those fears, I've got a few tips to give to you today. So, 1, be yourself. It's important to be yourself and to be able to do what you like without being afraid of what anyone thinks. Be your own first priority. I'm sure you've heard me say it many times, or maybe you haven't heard me say it, but I always say, you are priority number 1. You always come first. Others telling you how you should be is bullshit. Number 2, invent yourself. How do we invent ourselves? All of us mold ourselves according to our environment that we live in. Give yourself a break and think about how you can reduce the emotional distress you are feeling. Become a person you think can handle the distress better. Invent yourself with characteristics that were missing earlier. Reinvent yourself. There's a great Netflix show that just came on, and yes, granted, the person did a lot of not so good stuff, but I highly recommend watching Inventing Anna. That's just a plug there, because really pay attention to who Anna is and how she projected herself and how she became this person. She literally told herself she was this person. She literally reinvented herself and said, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to strive to be, and this is who I'm going to be, and this is how I'm going to do things, and on and on and on and on and on. It's a really fascinating story. And I remember back when, she was first on trial for all the things that she did. And, you know, just a fascinating person, and took that whole inventing herself, reinventing herself, doing whatever it took to be that person that she knew that she was, that she knew that she was going to be, that person that she knew that she was always supposed to be. Regardless of the things that she did, the bad things that she did, really watch the show and pay attention to her and how she made it, how she did things in her life. So that's a whole other topic I went off on. But anyways, so I highly recommend watching that show. Number 3, love and be loved. Love and be loved. It is essential to love yourself and allow yourself to be loved. Work on not looking down on yourself. You should feel worthy of love, your own love, and the love from others. Flip the anxiety switch off. Promise yourself you will continue to work on addressing fears that contribute to unwanted, unnecessary worry and anxiety. It can take a lot of emotional strength to liberate yourself from fear, a lot. Facing and fighting that fear will require courage. You can, which can often come with the ability to emotionally regulate. You know, if you're struggling, if this is something that you're struggling with, reach out and get the support that you need. You're not alone. I just shared with you some of my struggles with fear. You're not alone. I have had a lot of this for a really long time in numerous different ways, come up in different times in my life over and over and over. Once I think once I think that I'm stuck in that fear, I combat it. Once it rears its ugly head, sometimes it does in different fashions, different states, I will always continue to tackle it again and again and again. And I will figure out ways to tackle it. And I will figure out ways to release those emotions. I will figure out ways to make things happen and shift in my life so that that fear doesn't rear its ugly head. But it happens. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and we're going to experience fear. We're going to experience these things. I work on looking at fear as my best friend. Did I say that right? Best friend. I look at it, it's only steering me where I need to be, steering me in the way that I need to be. And it's not a roadblock. Fear is not a roadblock. It's a road sign. It's a road sign showing me to the next destination, showing me that, hey, you need to take care of this in order to move forward in life. And you won't get there until you address this first. So in order for us to change, evolve, grow as people, we need to pay attention to these road signs in our lives. Now, when it comes up, I think, okay, what do I need to do to make this happen? Or what am I not paying attention to that needs to be looked at in another way or fashion, like I said just a few minutes ago, in order to move forward? And the universe is always telling me, hey, Liza, get your shit together. You aren't going to move. You aren't going to grow. You're not going to evolve if you don't. So I find ways to get my shit together, even though I say, why, universe? So thoughts to ponder. So, okay, that's it for me today with Liza's BLTs. Tune in next week for another BLT. Take care. Bye.